Welcome, my radiant Aries souls, both longtime loyalists of the cosmic path and the freshly curious who've just crash-landed here after googling why do I feel like I'm about to fight or fall in love or both. You've officially found your way to Zodiac Talks Tarot, where we don't just read horoscopes, we decode your soul's blueprint with a wink, a roar, and the occasional cosmic slap of reality. Now, let's talk about what's happening in the stars, because it's not business as usual. Not this week. We are staring down the barrel of one of the most potent energy portals of the year, Venus square Pluto, and for Aries, it's personal. As someone who's been studying the stars and the psychological skeletons they like to unearth for over 2 decades, I can tell you, this isn't just a transit. This is emotional excavation at the soul level. Venus, the queen of love, values, and fine wine, is at home in Taurus, lighting candles and craving comfort. Meanwhile, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius is not here for your scented candles. He's the cosmic underworld therapist, demanding full truth, pulling receipts from the past, and asking questions like, do you really love them or are you just trauma bonded? For Aries, the chosen ones of this moment, it's going to feel like being stripped down emotionally in front of a mirror you didn't ask to look into. If you've felt tense, a little too in your feelings lately, or like your armor's gotten heavier, yep, that's the portal already working its magic. And let's be real, Aries doesn't like to feel vulnerable. You'd rather charge headfirst into battle than sit in a pool of emotional murk, but this is one of those rare cosmic moments where avoidance just won't cut it. This is your invitation to transform, not through force, but through radical honesty. So take a deep breath, Aries. The universe is about to show you what your heart's really made of, and I promise, it's not just fire and impulse. There's depth under that flame. Let's talk about what's really happening in the emotional trenches right now, Aries, because if you're feeling like your heart is caught somewhere between a soap opera and a volcanic eruption, you're not imagining things. This isn't just drama, it's cosmic remodeling. As someone who's spent decades studying both the stars and the messy miracle that is the human psyche, I can assure you, this Venus square Pluto moment is not for the faint of heart. But luckily, Aries, you're not faint. You're fire. Now, for my chosen ones under this sign, brace yourselves. Some of you are going to feel this magnetic pull toward a person, a situation, maybe even toward a version of yourself you thought you'd outgrown. It'll feel electric. Other Aries? You'll want to sprint in the opposite direction, tossing your phone into the sea and changing your name to emotionally unavailable. Both reactions are real, raw, and completely aligned with the chaos Pluto loves to stir up. But here's where it gets deliciously uncomfortable. Those buried power dynamics you thought you had under control? They're coming up like weeds after a spring rain. That friend you always secretly resented? That lover whose texts have been giving you anxiety instead of butterflies? Pluto's dragging that drama to the surface, and Venus is making sure you feel every bit of it right in your chest, your throat, and yes, maybe your tear ducts. And if you suddenly find yourself sobbing over a voicemail from 2016 or nearly committing a federal offense over a one-word text reply like "K, don't panic," that's not emotional instability. That's sacred data. These aren't breakdowns, Aries. They're breakthroughs in disguise. It's the universe's way of telling you, hey, this shallow love stuff, the fake harmony, the passive-aggressive situationships, they've gotta go. This is your soul's version of spring cleaning, only it comes with more crying and fewer swift FERS. So ride the wave, Aries. Cry the cry. Scream into the pillow. Just don't ignore what's surfacing. Because beneath the storm is something real. And real love? Real alignment? That's worth the temporary chaos. Now let's peel back the curtain on what this Venus-Pluto square is really doing, Aries, and spoiler alert, it's not here to play nice. Think of it as a cosmic lie detector, but instead of hooking you up to wires, it's tapping into your soul and asking one very inconvenient question: who's really in control here? And no, I don't just mean who's sending the first text or who's deciding where to eat, though that passive-aggressive "I don't know, you choose" routine is looking real shady right now. I'm talking about the deeper power dynamics, the invisible contracts we make in our relationships. Who's been silently calling the shots? Who's been giving their power away while calling it compromise? And here's the twist that might sting a little sometimes: Aries, you're the one holding the leash. Yes, even you, the brave and bold ram, can fall into patterns of control masked as leadership, or independence hiding avoidance. Trust me, I say this with love and 20+ years of watching fiery souls like yours charge into battle, sometimes against others, sometimes against yourself. But don't worry, the cosmos isn't dragging all this up to shame you. It's doing it to liberate you. And that brings us to the real work: purging the illusions. That fantasy you've been nurturing, the one where they'll eventually change, or this gets better if I just love them harder. Yet, Pluto's taking a blowtorch to that. And the old belief that your worth is determined by who picks you? Let's just say it's time to toss that into the sacred bonfire, too. You, Aries, are one of the chosen ones, and the chosen don't wait around to be chosen. They choose themselves, again and again, until their life reflects their inner truth. So if something falls apart this week, be it a relationship, a storyline, or a 3 a.m. fantasy you've clung to out of fear, don't chase after the pieces. That's not punishment, it's grace in disguise. This isn't rejection. It's redirection. And on the other side of all this unraveling, a version of you who no longer negotiates your power for crumbs. One who finally realizes, peace isn't something you beg for. It's something you choose and fiercely protect. Let's shift gears and talk about something Aries folks often treat like an afterthought: the body. Yes, that thing you use to lift weights, race upstairs, and occasionally forget to feed when you're chasing your next big goal. But during this Venus-Pluto square, your body isn't just a vehicle for doing. It's become an oracle, and right now, it's whispering secrets your conscious mind hasn't caught up with yet. Or in some cases screaming. That tension in your throat? The throbbing behind your eyes? The headache that no amount of coffee or complaining can fix? That's not just random. That's energetic data. It's your body throwing sacred tantrums to get your attention. For my fellow Aries chosen ones, who tend to bulldoze through discomfort instead of listening to it, this is your cosmic cue to pause. That's right. Pause. Not pivot. Not plan. Pause. There's wisdom in those aches. They're breadcrumb trails to where you're resisting change, clinging to control, or holding on to a story that's outlived its usefulness. Now, if your body's been loud during the day, wait until you close your eyes. Because here's where Pluto gets sneaky. Your dreams? They're not dreams this week. They're psycho-spiritual blockbusters produced by your subconscious, directed by your higher self, and maybe co-written by a few exes you'd rather forget. If you wake up wondering why you just walked through a lavender hallway while your third-grade teacher turned into your last situationship, don't panic. That's just your shadow side staging a live reading of your inner script. Locked doors, basements, endless falling. All symbols. All meaningful. And if your dream journal reads like a Quentin Tarantino screenplay, consider it a win. That means the portal's working. Pluto's digging. And your soul? It's ready to rewrite the story. So listen to your body. Watch your dreams. And don't be afraid of the weird. The weird is the wisdom. Let's talk about time, because under this Venus square Pluto energy, it's not just ticking, it's twisting. Welcome to Pluto time, Aries, where the clock goes rogue and your internal compass spins like it's stuck between past lives and next week's existential crisis. Ever had a 30-second conversation that somehow felt like a full-blown therapy session? Or spaced out staring at your ceiling fan, only to realize an hour passed and your tea got cold twice? That's not brain fog, it's cosmic recalibration. Pluto doesn't follow a linear path. It loops, dives, and rewinds like it's editing a movie that's equal parts documentary and fever dream. And during this time warp, memories from the past might crash your mental inbox uninvited, while sudden flashes of the future arrive like déjà vu with an attitude. It's not chaos, it's calibration. The universe isn't breaking you. It's tuning you. And once this energetic storm finally passes, yes, it will pass, don't be surprised if you feel empty. Not broken. Not defeated. Just spacious. It's like your soul can marry your inner world tossed what doesn't spark truth. That hollowness? That's sacred space, Aries. That's the emotional square footage you just cleared for something real to move in. But here's the kicker, the integration phase is where most people fumble. They rush to fill the void with old patterns, old people, old habits wearing new cologne. Don't fall for it. You've changed. You can't unknow what Pluto showed you. And if someone tries to lure you back into dynamics that kept you small, ask yourself, do I really want to replay level 3 when I've just unlocked the boss fight of emotional growth? Aries, you were never meant to live in reverse. You are built for bold forward movement, just maybe now with a little more soul, and a lot less chaos. Alright Aries, now that we've survived the emotional purge, the time warp, and probably a few impulsive texts you immediately regretted, don't worry, we've all been there. Let's talk about how to actually navigate this Venus square Pluto storm with grace, grit, and maybe just a little less drama than last time. Think of this as your cosmic survival kit, curated by someone who's spent more than 2 decades decoding zodiac psychology, archetypes, and the spiritual potholes we all trip over. First up, radical honesty. I'm talking about the kind of truth that makes your palms sweat and your voice tremble. Tell it anyway. Say the thing you've been avoiding. Pluto isn't interested in pretty lies, he wants the raw material, the ugly truths we bury under polite smiles and spiritual bypassing. Next, let go of control. I know, Aries, surrender isn't your strong suit. You'd rather wrestle the universe into submission. But this time, control is the illusion. Surrender is where your power really lives. Then there's the shadow work. That jealousy, that need to win, that urge to ghost people instead of feeling feelings. Don't shove it in a drawer. Sit with it. Learn from it. Integrate it. You're not here to be flawless. You're here to be fully conscious. And finally, trust the process. Pluto never destroys without purpose, and Venus never brings beauty without revealing the truth underneath. Transformation is messy, but it's also holy. And here's the final truth, this isn't about surviving, it's about becoming. This Venus-Pluto square is your initiation, Aries. It's not punishment. It's permission. Permission to drop the masks, the old storylines, the people-pleasing, and step into a life that actually feels like yours. On the other side of this isn't a fantasy, it's a foundation. A love rooted in truth. A self that doesn't apologize for evolving. So go live, Aries. Not just boldly, but consciously. Laugh harder. Take up space. Stop apologizing for your fire and start using it to light your own path. If this message hit home, and I know it did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot, where we read the stars like a roadmap, not a horoscope, and hold space for your soul to evolve. Until next time, keep your fire sacred and your truth untamed. You were born for this.